And we are live. Welcome to another episode of Business Focus Live with me, John, where we talk about business related topics as well as news from here and around the world. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and let's get started. And we're back. Thank you again for joining today. Today is April the 22nd, 2022. So, in this week's episode, there's a lot of interesting things going on this past week or so. First is we'll be talking about the major acquisition. I won't say acquisition, but a merger between two media giants, in particular Warner Brothers, WarnerMedia, and Discovery Plus. Now, what does this mean for the general public, for the viewers? Will they provide better products to compete with the likes of Disney Plus as well as Netflix? We'll talk about that later. Next is here's an interesting thought. Obviously, no one, as of that I remember, can escape mortality in a sense, right? But Elon Musk begs to disagree in terms of living forever by being able to download your brain into a robot or a machine. Now, how feasible is that, or is just a wishful thinking here? And next, we'll also be talking about how McDonald's is finding ways to spice up their menu, in particular, offering a salmon burger that's from Hokkaido in Japan and sells it here in Singapore. And lastly, endorsement is always the traditional means of marketing a product or service if you're a company. And is it still a tried and test successful way to encourage consumers to buy their product because of said endorser? So in this case, Penshoppe is partnering with a very popular actress. Sad to say, I don't know her, but that's Miss So-hee. We'll talk about that also if it's a right partner, what makes endorsement or getting an endorser a more uh, a successful strategy, marketing strategy compared to other means, or are there other alternatives already that can supplant getting having to pay millions and millions of dollars for a endorser here. And lastly, we'll be talking about, I like technologies here. Xiaomi is offering a 100-inch television. Now, obviously, the bigger the TV, with the latest technologies, with whether it's LED or mini LED, it's going to be quite expensive. But is there a market for that one? We'll talk about that in a bit as well. Anyway, so as mentioned, for our first story, when I first read this article, companies tend to merge if it's beneficial for both of them, acquiring one company over the other. But the question is, will this create how we say it, a monopoly of sorts, which is what we don't want to happen because just take a look at Apple or even in Google's case, they have a monopoly in their platforms and it's difficult for competitors to compete with them, and it limits the growth, innovation of their products, which limits the options of us as consumers here. So according to techtimes.com, the merger, the 43 billion merger, so it's no small amount. It's pretty significant. The Warner Media merger, or Warner Brothers, parent company, and Discovery, to bring HBO Max and Discovery Plus to one streaming services. Now, obviously, streaming services has become the better I won't say better an alternative to watching movies in the theaters here, and obviously makes it more convenient for consumers. Even for I'm subscribed to Netflix, but obviously Netflix has been in the market for I think about a decade, and many other studios are following suit. As mentioned, you have Warner Media here. You also have Paramount, which is owned by CBS. which owns CBS or is owned by CBS, I forgot. And then you also have Peacock, which is owned by NBC, and then you also have Amazon and so forth, right? So the streaming service has become more competitive compared to a few years back here. Now, will this bring tremendous value for consumers? Because I used to watch a plenty HBO content way back before when they were still offering cable subscriptions, in our area here. And being able to watch HBO is one, and then also watching Discovery channels is another. But since that has ship has sailed, I wasn't able to watch many of their TV series. Anyway, let's look at the article here. So the amount that's being thrown around is the 43 billion merger between the two big companies here. So meaning unifying their streaming services, solidifying their position so that they can compete with big other big streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus here. So according to Engadget, the new merger will eventually blend the entertainment and reality programming, which will give Warner Brothers Discovery more chances to compete with Netflix and this, as mentioned earlier. Now, according to the publication, the company will most likely offer a bundle for both services, meaning WarnerMedia has been able to launch CNN Plus, which is another streaming services here. Now, what's interesting here is that the growth of HBO Max, obviously, they have many very popular series here, Game of Thrones, just to name a few, with a subscriber base of, a little over 70 million subscribers. Now, obviously, that still pales in comparison when you're looking at the numbers what Netflix is offering and Disney Plus is offering. Now, Disney Plus has already reached the 100 million mark, while on the other hand, Netflix still number one, but is slowly losing subscribers here, which has a domino effect in their market price in the stocks. Anyway, it mentions here, according to Engadget, the move might really pay off due to HBO Max and HBO having a massive, subscriber base compared to last year. Along with departures of multiple Warner Media executive, makes it quite clear that the company will be getting a new leadership structure, according to Variety here. Hopefully, the change in management will push the company in the right direction in terms of offering better content and better quality, so that people has a compelling case to subscribe. Even actually, I don't know if they're offering HBO Max here in our country. Let's take a closer. HBO Max Philippines. Oh yeah, so they do offer HBO Asia, but it's only HBO, so it's very limited. And obviously they have a wide variety of offerings. Actually, what's interesting, so if you were to look closely here, they're offering here for as low as $100 a month, 100 pesos, for a monthly average of 3-month plan. But obviously that's going to increase over time here. Now, is it obviously they're trying to entice you to subscribe to their platform? Now, obviously the issue here is if you like certain contents on different platform, it's just like before when you're subscribing to a cable network. The cost of subscribing to one services or one network to another can pile up quickly here, which will be the same issue that consumers has to deal with. Which network or TV channels are you supposed to watch, which has a better proposition over the other, and so forth here. Now, obviously, the consolidation here can be considered a problem for the market in terms of monopolizing the media market here. Obviously, monopolizing it has always pitfalls for consumers. Obviously, this is tremendous if you're the companies that's trying to solidify your position in the market itself. Now, I think AT&T owns WarnerMedia. Anyway, AT&T's take on merger of WarnerMedia and Discovery Plus was mentioned that they will offer more consumer choices as well as more innovative video experience. And I think at the end of the day, for regardless of which streaming services is trying to compete with one another, at the end of the day, it boils down to the content that you're offering. Now, having a catalog of popular TV shows, even films, is important. But moving forward, if you want to entice new or even retain those subscribers, is offering new and better content here. Like in my case, personally, I was attracted to subscribing to Netflix because of Dave Chappelle's TV specials. Now, obviously, he's only doing several specials. It's not as if it's a TV series or several episodes at that. Now, what's after that? Now, obviously, they're trying to offer more. I think the failure of Burn Notice, the film, and then the TV series, the adaptation of Cowboy Bebop, you know, didn't do so well. So, and then the fourth season of Stranger Things is coming up soon. So, something to look forward. And I was able to finish and watch the latest season of The Witcher here. So again, it's all about the content here. Wouldn't it be nice that what if we can get just one streaming services and have all of the contents in one platform? I mean, I'd be willing to pay a pretty penny to be able to have the convenience of being able to watch whether it's Harry Potter films, maybe watch The Office, or maybe watch Star Trek. Star Trek old, not the Star Trek new. Anyway, well, we'll see. So, question is, will the government hinder the merger of those two companies unless otherwise, this is going to be problematic for Netflix in terms of their positioning here because a lot of companies now is trying to, ride on their heels and hopefully catch up or eventually surpass them in the future. Anyway, next is we have here in terms of uh, story about Elon Musk. It's always about Elon Musk. He always wants to be in the limelight. But anyway, in terms of being able to push for mortality in a sense, or immortality, not mortality, by the way of downloading your brain cells into robots. Who would want that? I forgot what game was that. Anyway, so according to this article at CNBC.com, so Elon Musk says humans could eventually download their brains into robots, and Jeff Bezos would do it. Now, obviously, I'm sure a lot of people, wealthy people, very rich people, would like to live forever because of the wealth they've generated. But I think, as far as I'm concerned, no one was still able to escape death. People will die eventually, whether it's today or sometime in the future. But what's interesting, how Elon Musk is pushing for this immortality, so to speak, here. So if we were to take a closer look, so obviously Elon Musk is known for popularizing electric vehicles here. Then you have SpaceX, and then you have Neuralink. Maybe he's trying to find ways to be able to achieve that. So let's see here. Now, Elon Musk says a lot of seemingly fantastical things. Some are exaggerated and trying to drive up whatever his agenda. But according to Musk, I think it is possible. Of course, anything is possible if you have the resources to do it. But he goes on to mention, yes, we could download the things that we believe makes ourselves so unique. Now, of course, if you're not in that body anymore, that is definitely going to be the difference. But as far as preserving our memories, our personality, I think we could do that. Yeah, it's easier said than that because trying to replicate AI machines currently is not able to do anything of that sort here. Trying to mimic what humans do. That's why our brain capabilities is so complicated. It's hard to replicate here right now. Maybe we will see it maybe not in our life, in my lifetime, or maybe in the next generation. But anyway, Elon Musk mentions that such technology will be a gradual evolution from today's forms of computer memory. And obviously, you're going to need a powerful machine, a very fast machine. As of right now, we haven't reached to that point, right? In terms of our desktop PCs and even even smartphones that's becoming smaller and smaller, but still there's still a limitation as to how far technologies have come from decades past here. Now, in terms of retaining what's in our memories, in our minds, in our brains would be a very difficult and daunting task. And obviously we've seen this in films where people try to download themselves and become a machine of sorts. Well, that didn't pan out well for many of those characters in the films, but obviously that's always a wishful thinking. And obviously there are always ethical issues that you have to consider. Is it ethical? Should humans be considering doing this activity, from cloning to maybe even in the future you can resurrect the dead? Is that even possible? So meaning maybe we're here in this earth to live a productive and meaningful life, and then that's it, rather than prolong our existence, whether through any means necessary or at any cost here. Now obviously there are always downsides to those thinkings here. Anyway, he goes on to say computers and phones amplify our ability to communicate, enabling us to do things that would have been considered magical. We've already amplified our human brains massively with computers, but I think still a long ways to go before you could truly say that the technology that we have right now is getting closer and closer to the point that it can replicate what our brains can do or even think of doing. Just think of dreaming, the creativitiness. It's That's difficult to replicate here. But obviously, for his sake, he's trying to find ways to escape. What do you call this? Escape mortality here. Well, good luck on him if he's able to do it. Now he's trying to do so many things. Conquer the electric vehicle market, go to space, and live forever. Who knows? He might be able to achieve it sometime in the future here. We'll see. Anyway, next is we'll be talking about how McDonald's, a very popular fast food chain in the world, is looking ways to entice Singaporeans by offering a breath of, I won't say breath of fresh, but maybe a new menu. How new is a seasonal salmon burger from the north, from Hokkaido, Japan here. So let's take a closer look here. So according to insiders.com, the article here, Miss Marielle tested McDonald's menu items that you can only find in Singapore, including a seasonal burger. It was one of the best fast food experience of her life. And as you can see here, it states Hokkaido salmon burger. Now, obviously, that hasn't caught up in here in our country here in the Philippines. But obviously, for fast food chains to become popular, obviously the convenience is important. But after a while, it gets stale if you're still offering the same menu over and over. That's why you want to add or incorporate new menus from time to time, and obviously retaining the more popular ones, the sandwiches, the fries, the nuggets, chicken nuggets, and so forth, right? But obviously offering new that would entice customers to keep on coming back to your establishment here. So let's take a look what makes this interesting, makes it appealing. So as you can see here, they're offering, it's a pretty typical packaging for a sandwich here with your fries and your chocolate pie and some sauce here. Anyway, so in April, they mentioned that McDonald's had 3 menu items exclusive to the city: a salmon burger from Hokkaido, a curry sauce, and the chocolate pie. Now, I wish they would offer that also here in our country. I mean, I don't mind salmon burger. I mean, I'm willing to try it out. And let's see, why is it so popular? Looking closely, so you can see here, it looks appealing and enticing. Now, I'm feeling hungry all of a sudden. Anyway, so McDonald's first launched the Japanese-inspired Hokkaido salmon burger way back in 2019 to celebrate its 150th anniversary of naming the city of Hokkaido. So it relaunched the burger way back in March 24th. So McDonald's typically rotates the Singapore exclusive menu items. The burger is a seasonal item. The chocolate pie and curry sauce were the items exclusive to the city state when she ordered in a local outlet back in April 5th here. And I think It's important to rotate the seasonal items and always add new to try out if it will become a very popular staple to the customers here. And obviously looking at it, and it looks appetizing. She opened up the sandwich, so let's see here. So the impressions here, according to her, that it didn't look appetizing. Obviously, when you're offering food, the presentation is as important as the how the food tastes, and if it tastes good here when you first eat it here. Now, said on social media that the burger is made of panko crusted salmon patty, white cabbage, onions, roasted sesame mayonnaise, and sesame seed burns. So the chain said the salmon is from Hokkaido. So I think so the salmon is the only thing that's actually from Hokkaido here. Now in terms of cost here, it's around roughly 6 Singaporean dollars, around $4, around 200 pesos. A bit expensive here. Now you can also order and the double cost roughly close to $6, around almost close to 300 pesos. So it's pretty steep if you're ordering. Now, obviously, for a fast food chain, particularly here in the country, price is a main issue here. If you offer anything, I think over 100, 200 pesos, I think people would consider it as very expensive. Then it's not considered fast food anymore, since it's targeting more middle class to upper class people here. Now, according to her, when she tasted it, she ate it, it tasted better than the way it looked. So maybe they could polish up how it's presented. So she mentions that the fish patty was juicy and you could actually taste the salmon. Well, hopefully, because you you paid for a salmon sandwich. So question here is, will people continue to clamor for those products? Now, in terms of the curry sauce here, now obviously it's certain countries people like curry, or me not so much. I'm allergic to it. Now, in this case, curry sauce has many fans in Singapore, so good choice. So they brought out a limited bottled version back in 2020. So the bottled version of the sauce was so popular that transactions were limited to 2 bottles per person here. So McDonald's has never revealed what was inside the sauce. So one recipe says it was made with peanut butter, curry powder, garlic powder, chicken stock, condensed milk, chili sauce, soy sauce, and apple cider vinegar here. Now, if you like, you know, I prefer to more on sweet barbecue sauce, sweet and sour sauce. That's my cup of tea. So obviously, it depends on your preference. So couple that with the French fries, I think it would look tremendous. Uh, so here we have a sauce. What sauce is this? While the sauce was on the sweeter side, it complemented the saltiness of the fries perfectly. So the sauce was sweet and just a tad savory, which made it quite addictive. And I think that's the whole point, making you addictive to their flavor, so you can keep on, purchasing their products over and over again. And lastly, they are offering the chocolate pie, which smelled absolutely divine. So if you were to look closely, now here we have we call this apple pie. That's a very popular staple here in the Philippines. But I don't think I've encountered a chocolate pie here. I'll be interested if McDonald's here in the Philippines would consider offering that as well. Now it looks enticing, and according to her, she mentions that it's absolutely divine. Anyway, it mentions that the main ingredients is chocolate crust and molten chocolate. So it's a limited edition which costs roughly around a little over $1, $1. So that's roughly around 50 pesos. So it's not expensive. It's not cheap also here. So question here is this a good strategy for McDonald's, what they're offering? I think I tend to agree, because obviously offering more value for your customers is always tremendous in the long run here, whether catering to the masses or to a select group of your customers only here. Anyway, let's move on to our next story. Where was it? Next is, I was surprised when I saw this article if spending millions, a lot of money to hire someone to endorse your product. Obviously, we're talking of TV personalities, celebrities here, which has a cachet to carry your product, to sell your product to the masses here. And one such company, Penshoppe, has hired the newest face, Miss Han So-hee. She's a Korean actress, I think. I'm not familiar with her, but what got me interested here is the notion that getting an endorser to sell your product, is it still the ideal one, since that social media has risen to its popularity to where it is right now, and getting not just celebrities, which is more expensive, but getting influencers that's targeted specifically to your demographic audience here, whether you're on YouTube, maybe on TikTok, maybe on Instagram or WhatsApp or whatever social media platform that you are eyeing. Now, is it still a safe bet here? Only time can tell. I think another company that's betting on popular celebrities is, I think it's Bench. I forgot who's their main endorser here. Let me take a look here. Bench endorser. Yeah. So even Bench is using another South Korean actor, Mr. Kim Soo Hyun. So let's see. Now, one would think, why would they get Korean actors to endorse a Filipino product? Obviously, they would think that many Filipinos here in our country are enamored with Korean stars in terms of movies, Korean novelas, and whatnot. So it makes sense for them to target them to endorse product here. Now, obviously, I'm not their demographic profile. I'm not their target audience because I haven't watched a Korean series here. I think I only watched one or two films, but that's already way back in the early late 90s, early 2000s. So obviously they're targeting a different audience here. Anyway, let's continue. So anyway, so let's see who Miss Han So-hee is. Han So-hee. Okay, so if we were to take a closer look here, obviously Miss Han So-hee looks lovely, very attractive. I don't know if it's pretty typical of you know, a Korean actress, which I don't know, maybe the wrong person to compare. But I think she looks lovely, and I think a lot of people are enamored with her, obviously, of the way she looks. Now, does she speak any Tagalog? If she's going to come visit here in our country, who knows? But in terms of endorsing a product here, so why did the company choose? Uh, so my name and nevertheless stars joins the Penshoppe family for their latest minimalist collection. Okay. So South Korean actress Han So-hee is Team Penshoppe's newest endorser. So they have released a video announcing So-hee's debut as the newest face, in which she sports a brand new curated line of minimalist, natural, breathable piece with her distinct style and grace. Okay, now obviously you want to be careful in terms of who you get to endorse your product, and has to make sense of what the company or the product you're offering is similar to what the endorser is epitomizes, so to speak. Because if their personality or their character clashes with the product, then it would defeat the purpose of endorsing it in the first place here. Now, according to Miss So-hee, she mentions that my personal style is very much aligned with Penshop's branding, so I get to dress up in clothes I love. It allows me to experiment with different styles, and exciting to know that I can count on its versatility for my own fashion endeavors, according to her. Now, obviously, she has to say that, otherwise, it would be a disaster if her beliefs is totally opposite of what the company is offering here. But only time can tell if the investment is the right choice, if a lot of ladies would be clamoring to buy Penshoppe's clothes just simply because of Miss So-hee's projection in the public here. She mentions that she's looking forward to meeting Filipino fans. Obviously, I think that's part of her package. I think when they signed the agreement, I think she it's part of her job to smoosh with the public to enhance the PR, the product, the brand, and the image that both the actress and the company is trying to target here. Now she goes on to mention that I hope to meet my Filipino fans soon and personally take them for the love and support they have shown me and my work over the years. So I guess it's still working so that a lot of people are still enamored with celebrities and actresses, and if it still works, companies will still pay a handsome amount of money for those people to showcase their product and services here. Now, are there better alternatives? A more less expensive alternative, getting other influencers here, so to speak, to reach a wider audience, maybe, but not many can do or have the same clout or reach that a celebrity does here, whether here in our country or abroad. Anyway, for our last story here, something interesting. So in terms of technology, I like my television, bigger the size, the better. But obviously, the caveat here is the bigger the size, the more expensive it becomes, and it depends on the technology that you're using, whether it's traditional LCD, is it mini LEDs, quantum dot, QLED, and so forth. So there's a lot of jargons, names that they're throwing away, throwing out, not throwing away. Anyway, so Xiaomi is offering a very remarkable, a very big screen TV. So Xiaomi is planning to launch a 100-inch television here. So according to techspot.com, Xiaomi is launching a 100-inch 4K TV, sad to say only in China. That's worth around $3,000. So that's roughly around 150,000 pesos. So it's not cheap. Now, obviously, to have a 100-inch TV, you better make sure you have space for that one, and you have a bigger space than 100 in each room, so that you can fully appreciate. Obviously, standing in front of the TV will not be an ideal experience. Maybe you have to move, I don't know, 5-10 feet to be able to immerse yourself the entire the full width or the enormousness of the television here. So let's take a closer look here. So is it worth the money that they're offering here? Anyway, so in a recent hardware event, Xiaomi launched a couple of Redmi brand phones, so a Wi-Fi router and a Redmi Book Pro laptop. And then there's the largest TV to date, the Redmi Max 100. So a behemoth 4K LCD TV measuring 100 inches as mentioned, equipped with a 120 refresh rate. So maybe you could game on it with Wi-Fi 6 and quad speakers. I'm assuming the speakers will be terrible here. I haven't seen a television that has adequate speakers that you don't have to use an external speaker. Even we had to buy a sound bar to be able to maximize the sound experience. Otherwise, it's way too what do you call this? It's way too bloated in a sense, and the sound is firing at the back, and if it doesn't have a wall, it won't reverberate back, so it would scatter, so it sounds weird. That's why you need to invest a good speakers here, or even a sound bar here. Anyway, so the Chinese TV market has been getting interesting lately. You have Hisense bringing a 65-inch 4K HDR model at around $900. And then you now have Xiaomi offering a more expensive Redmi Max at around 20,000 RMB, so a little over $3,000. So now, is bigger good? Obviously, it depends on the target audience. Now, for business, I think it's good for retail if you're trying to capitalize on, let's say, a banner or advertisement in your store window, so people would be glued to your screen and maybe entice them to go to your stores and buy your products there. Now, according to their spec here, the TV's thin metallic uh, uh, frame, not flame, results in a high 95% screen to body ratio. It's also a 10-bit panel sports of HDR10 plus, 120 megahertz refresh rate, 700 nits of peak brightness. I don't know about the brightness. I tend to like it. Higher is always better for brightness, but uh, in terms of its color grading, how accurate is it? Especially the blacks. When you're playing HDR content here, now they say they also have 94% DCI P3 coverage and is IMAX enhanced. So it looks interesting, but I'll wait for the review if it should be if it would be a good investment for your entertainment. I doubt it I could use it for desktop use in my computer because it would be too big. Let me see. 100 inch. Yeah. So 100 inch is practically my entire table. So I have to move backwards if I'm going to use that big of a screen. I think 27-inch screen is more than enough for me. Maybe I'll go to as high as maybe 32-inch or maybe 40-inch. But for that amount of real estate, that would be only a single screen, not a dual screen anymore here. Anyway, question is it a good buy for the general public? Now, obviously, it depends on your budget, on your test case use. Now, if you're using it for your living room, then maybe it's a good investment. But also, you want to take a look at other options, whether it's Sony, maybe Samsung. But obviously, those brands, you have to pay a pretty penny for their branding here and their popularity in terms of their technologies here, or even LG is another one. So, but if you don't have the budget, you can always look for other lesser inexpensive. I think I bought a Hisense at 55-inch. Is it 55? I forgot. Which is, you'd say compared to when I bought my first LCD, 32-inch LCD, is the same price I bought my 55-inch or 65-inch Hisense nowadays. So it's becoming more less inexpensive and becoming more affordable to many of the masses here. But the question is 100-inch going to captivate a lot of people? Obviously, in terms of the amount, the price tag, it's going to limit who can afford and why should they buy it in the first place here. And the question, is it going to be available in other parts of Asia outside of China here? Anyway, I think that concludes our discussion for today. Anyway, if you have any question with regards to our topic today, feel free to leave your comments down below and I'll try to get back to you. As always, I'll see you again next week, same time, same channel. Hopefully, unless something changed along the way. I'll see you again next time. Take care.